Have you ever wondered if the animals we love have a destiny beyond this life? Could that loyal dog, that cat who was always by your side, or even a horse that marked your history be waiting for you on the other side? The truth about this may be very different from what you have always imagined. The Bible gives us clues about the future of animals and their relationship with eternity. In Ecclesiastes 3:21, we find a disquieting question. Who knows if the spirit of man goes upward and the spirit of the animal goes downward? And in Isaiah 11:6, we are presented with a heavenly vision where the wolf lives with the lamb, revealing a perfect harmony among all creatures. But what do these passages really mean? Is there a divine purpose for the animals that have marked our lives? If you love animals and believe that your love is eternal, leave a comment with the phrase, "Love for animals is a divine gift," to show that you are part of this journey. Subscribe to the channel and activate notifications, because what you will discover today may completely change your view on life after death. Since ancient times, animals have always played a special role in human life. They were our companions, helpers, and in many cases, symbols of divine blessings. But was God's purpose in creating them solely for this fleeting existence? The answer may be found in the scriptures and in surprising accounts from people who have had revelatory spiritual experiences. Many cultures throughout history have believed in the spiritual presence of animals. In Christianity, there are countless accounts of how God used animals to send messages and even perform miracles. In the Bible, we find several passages that demonstrate God's care for his creatures. In Matthew 10:29, Jesus asks, "Are not 2 sparrows sold for a penny? Yet not one of them will fall to the ground outside your Father's care." This shows us that God cares even for the smallest of living beings. If he cares for them, could he forget them after death? But beyond the biblical verses, there are stories that deeply touch the heart. Accounts of people who lost their pets and in moments of profound suffering experienced events that suggest these bonds are never broken. Imagine losing everything that gave you joy and meaning in life. That is exactly what happened to Daniel, a man who lived through a transformative experience. He was always an ordinary man, married for 30 years to his wife Clara. Together, they built a peaceful, loving life, until tragedy knocked at the door. Clara was diagnosed with a serious illness, and within a few months, her light went out, leaving Daniel alone in a suffocating silence. The house that was once filled with laughter and happy moments became a cold, lifeless place. The pain was so intense that Daniel began to isolate himself, barely leaving the house and not even having the strength to try to move on. His only relief was looking at old photos where Clara was always seen smiling alongside Max, the dog who had been with them for over 10 years. Max was the wedding gift that Clara chose. Since he was a puppy, he was an inseparable companion, a protector, and a symbol of unconditional love. But as life is relentless, Max aged, and a few months after Clara's departure, he too succumbed to time. Daniel then found himself completely alone. The loneliness was overwhelming. He spent entire days without speaking to anyone, engulfed in sadness and longing. But then something happened. One night, as he lay down, he felt a familiar warmth by his side. He opened his eyes and got the impression that Max was there, just as he always was when he wanted to comfort him. At first, he thought it was just his imagination, but then he felt a light touch on his hand, as if someone was trying to get his attention. From that night on, Daniel began to have vivid dreams. In each of them, he saw Clara and Max together, happy, in a place of indescribable peace. They were always smiling, as if they wanted to send him a message. Life does not end here. It was then that Daniel decided to seek answers. He found comfort in the Bible and began to read about the creation and purpose of animals. He discovered that, from the very beginning, God placed them alongside man, not only as companions, but as symbols of purity, loyalty, and unconditional love. He found Romans 8:21, which states that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. Could this mean that animals are also part of the divine plan? At that moment, Daniel realized something powerful. If God is love, if he created everything with a purpose, why would the purest bonds on earth be destroyed? Is it possible that those who truly loved us are waiting for us in eternity? Since then, Daniel began to face life differently. He rebuilt himself, started helping others who were facing the pain of loss, and more than ever, felt that Max had never left him. The memories, the moments shared, and even the small signs of everyday life were proof that true love never dies. But this experience is not unique. There are many accounts of people who felt inexplicable presences after losing their pets. Some claim to have seen their companions in dreams. Others say they have heard sounds or felt touches reminiscent of them. But the most impressive are the cases where faith is strengthened by these signs. If you have ever had a pet that marked your life and believe that their love is a reflection of God's love, write in the comments, "The love of animals is eternal." And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, take the opportunity to subscribe now and activate notifications, because we still have much to reveal about this mystery. The question many ask is, if animals do not have a soul like humans, how can they have a destiny after death? The answer may lie in creation itself. God breathed life into all creatures and, as we have seen in various passages, he values and cares for them. In the book of Job 12:7-10, we find a revealing passage. "But ask the beasts, and they will teach you, and the birds of the air, and they will tell you. Or speak to the earth, and it will teach you, and the fish of the sea will explain to you. Who among all these does not know that the hand of the Lord has done this?" This passage shows that animals are part of the divine plan and that they possess a knowledge and a connection with God that we often underestimate. If animals are part of the divine plan, then what is their true purpose? Are they merely temporary companions, or do they belong to something much greater? To answer this question, we must go back to the beginning of everything, to the Garden of Eden, where the harmony between man and nature was perfect. In the account of creation, we see that God formed the animals before man and entrusted Adam with the responsibility of naming and caring for them. This demonstrates that animals have always had a significant role, not just as living beings, but as part of the balance of creation. They were not merely servants of humanity, but part of a greater plan. With the fall of man, everything was corrupted. Sin brought suffering, death, and separation among God's creatures. Before sin, there were no predators and prey, no fear or violence in the animal kingdom. All of this was a consequence of human transgression. But if the fall affected all creation, redemption will also restore it. That is why we find in Romans 8:19-21 an impressive promise. "For the creation eagerly awaits the revealing of the children of God. For the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God." And this means that when God's kingdom is fully restored, all of creation will be freed from suffering, and that includes the animals. The vision in Isaiah 11:6-9 reinforces this promise by describing a future where predators and prey live together in peace. But what does this mean for the animals we love? For those who have lost a beloved animal, this promise brings hope. True love is never wasted, and if God is love itself, he would not allow the purest bonds to be lost in eternity. The story of Marta is an emotional example of how these bonds transcend time and reality. Marta had always been passionate about horses. Since childhood, she spent hours in her grandfather's stable, riding and caring for the animals as if they were part of her family. Time passed, and her dearest horse Estrella became her greatest companion. Estrella was not just an animal to Marta, but an inseparable friend. Whenever Marta was sad, Estrella seemed to sense it and would come and cuddle by her side. This went on for years until inevitably time took its toll. Estrella aged, and one day Marta had to make the hardest decision of her life, to let her go. The pain was unbearable. Marta felt an immense void and began to wonder if she would ever see her friend again. It was then that one night she had a dream that would change her life. In the dream, she was in a vast field bathed in golden light, and in the distance she saw a familiar silhouette. Estrella was running free, with no signs of the age or suffering she had known before her departure. When Marta approached, she felt an indescribable peace. Estrella was alive in that place, and for the first time since her passing, Marta felt that the bond between them had never been broken. Upon waking, Marta remembered the words of Revelation 21:4. He will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There will be no more death, or mourning, or crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. That dream was not just a comfort, but a reminder that God's promise extends to all of creation. He would not allow suffering or death to have the last word. But if animals truly have a place in eternity, how can we be sure? The answer lies in the very character of God. If He is just, compassionate, and faithful, we can trust that He will care for His creatures with the same love and perfection with which He created them. Many people who have had near-death experiences report having seen their pets waiting for them in a dimension of peace and light. Although these experiences are not definitive proof, they are evidence that reinforces what the Scriptures already tell us. God does not forget those who were created with love. But there is something even more important to be said. If the love animals have for us is so pure and true, are we reciprocating that love in the right way? How many animals are mistreated, abandoned, and ignored every day? The Bible teaches us that the righteous care for their animals, as it is written in Proverbs 12:10. The righteous care for the needs of their animals, but the kindest acts of the wicked are cruel. If we believe that animals have a greater purpose, we must treat them with the respect and dignity they deserve. Every time we care for an animal, we are honoring God's creation and responding to the call to be good stewards of what He has entrusted to us. If you have ever experienced a special moment with an animal that left a mark on you forever, write in the comments, "Animals are a gift from God," to share this truth with the world. And if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, take the opportunity to subscribe now and activate notifications, because this is just one of the many revelations we will explore together. The answer to what happens to animals after death may not be completely revealed, but one thing is certain: God is love, and where there is love, there is eternity. If there is one thing we can learn from animals, it is that true love never demands anything in return. It is pure, unconditional, and eternal. When an animal crosses our path, it is not by chance. Perhaps it is a gift from God to teach us something about compassion, patience, and faith. And when they depart, their legacy remains. Remember, love is never wasted. And if God gave us these bonds here on earth, who can say that we will not meet them again in eternity? May this message remain in your heart. God bless you.